Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we're continuing with chapter 6 of the Essentials of Arabic Grammar, an English poem on Arabic grammar. And throughout this chapter we've been taking a look at nominal sentence structures, right? How to form sentences in the Arabic language, how to recognize sentences in the Arabic language. And we took a look at some basic foundational rules, principles, and even parts of a jumla ismiya, right? A nominal sentence. Looking at these two essential components of a jumla ismiya, the mubtada and the khabar, right? The subject and the predicate. If you're new here and you want to learn about these basic principles of a mubtada and khabar, I'll place a link to that video here. So we've seen alternatives to the mubtada, right? For example, using inna for emphasis of a nominal sentence, but also inna is a harf nasb, right? It impacts the ism that follows it and changes it into a state of nasb. And we've learned in the last lesson, whenever inna is used to start a sentence, the mubtada is inna plus the ism in attendance, right? So we've seen an alternative mubtada in the last lesson. And if you missed that lesson, I'll link that video here. So today we're going to be taking a look at some alternatives to the khabar, right? It's very important to understand these grammatical concepts because they're used all throughout the Quran, all throughout classical Arabic texts, and also in everyday, day-to-day speech in the Arab world. So let's jump right into the text. A mubtada that's followed by these huruf, or a mudaf, as well as one of the dhuruf, it will always take the place of the predicate, just as knowledge is outstripped by etiquette. Remember this and you will have nothing to fear. Inna Allaha ala kulli shay'in qadir. So a mubtada that's followed by these huruf, referring to huruful jar, right? Min, fi, an, ala, ila, ba, kaf, lam, etc. It will always take the place of the predicate. Meaning what? There are times where we're not going to see this generic nominal sentence structure that we've been taking a look at, right? Sometimes an indefinite singular ism that's in the state of rafa does not follow the mubtada. And in these cases, we might find a harf jar and its ism instead, right? For example, al-imamu fil masjidi. Al-imamu fil masjidi. Al-imam, the one who leads the congregational prayer, right? The imam, fil masjidi, is in the masjid, right? Al-imam here is definite, right? It's marfu', it's in a state of rafa. It begins this sentence. It checks all of the boxes of a mubtada. But following the noun, al-imam, we don't see a singular ism that is marfu' in a state of rafa, that is indefinite, right? Following this mubtada. Instead, we see the harf jar fi, right? And we've just learned that whenever the mubtada is followed by these huruf, i.e., min, fi, ala, ila, ba, kaf, lam, etc., these huruf of jar, and of course its ism, it will always take the place of the predicate, right? So we've identified the mubtada and we've identified the khabar, right? Fil masjidi, right? And so we know that this is a complete nominal sentence. We know that there's an implied is here, right? Al-imamu, the imam, is in the masjid, right? The imam is in the masjid. Let's take a look at another example here. هذا من فضل الله, right? هذا is an ism, right? We learned about the ismul ishara, and I'll link the video to that above. We know that the ism ishara, not only is it a noun, it's a definite noun, right? It's beginning this sentence, which is an indicator that this is a nominal sentence. There is nothing before it that's impacting it in any way. There is no reason for it to be in any other state except the state of rafa, right? Even though it isn't showing the typical signs of an ism in a state of rafa. So hadha here is our mubtada, right? It begins the sentence. It's an ism that is marfu', right? There's no reason for it to be in any other state except the state of rafa, and it's ma'arifa, it's definite. Now, in looking at what follows in this sentence, we don't see a singular ism that's marfu', right? That's in a state of rafa, that is indefinite, right? Which is a foundational element of the khabar in its essence, if we can say that, right? Instead, we see that what follows the mubtada is the harf min, right? One of the huruf of jar. And as we've just learned, a mubtada that's followed by these huruf, or a mudaf as well as one of the dhuruf, it will always take the place of the predicate. So we have min and its ism, right? We also have here lafdul jalala, and we see here a mudaf wa mudaf ilayhi construct between fadlillah, right? Fadlillah is a mudaf wa mudaf ilayhi construct, right? So now we're seeing a little bit more complexity in some of these nominal sentences. And again, it's very important to understand the basic foundational principles and elements of a mubtada and khabar so that you're able to distinguish between a variety of different sentence structure types. So you know the mudaf wa mudaf ilayh. How do we easily tell that this is a mudaf wa mudaf ilayhi fragment? We see that the word fadl does not have al at the beginning, it does not have tanween at the end, and the word following it, lafdul jalala, is in a state of jar, right? Telltale sign that this is a mudaf wa mudaf ilayhi fragment. And of course, lafdul jalala is definite. And so fadl is taking its definiteness from lafdul jalala, and it's in the state of jar because before it is a harf jar, right? The harf jar min. Hada min fadlillah, right? So we've identified the mubtada and we've identified the khabar because we know that a mubtada that's followed by these huruf, right? And of course it's asma. Here, fadlillah being connected, right? So min fadlillah, right? We know that this is the khabar here, right? We've identified the khabar. And so we know that there's an implied is here. This is from the bounty of Allah, the favor of Allah, right? Let's take a look at another example here from the Quran. In this ayah, Allah Ta'ala is addressing the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So we see here at the beginning of this sentence, inna, right? Harf nasub. Whenever inna is at the beginning of a sentence, the mubtada is inna plus the ism in attendance, right? Which in this case is the letter kaf, which is the attached pronoun form of anta, you. Innaka, indeed you, right? Anta is an ism, right? One of the dama'ir, one of the personal pronouns. And to refresh your knowledge of this, I'll place a link to this video above. We know that the pronoun anta, for example, and all of these personal pronouns, in their detached state, munfasil, they're in the state of rafa. And when they're attached, they're either in the state of nasab or jar. Here we know that it's in a state of nasab because it's connected to a harf nasab. And here we're also easily able to identify that this is the mubtada. Why? Because whenever inna is used to start a sentence, the mubtada is inna plus the ism in attendance, right? We also see here la'ala, right? We see this little lam right here that I've mentioned more than a few times. It's used for additional emphasis and is unique to the harf inna, right? It doesn't have an impact. It's used for additional emphasis. Beyond this, right, beyond finding the mubtada here, we don't see in this sentence a singular ism, a singular noun that is in the state of rafa, right, that's marfu' and that's indefinite. The only thing here that follows is the harf ala, right? And this is a harf jar. And we now know that a mubtada that's followed by these huruf, yani huruf al-jar, it will always take the place of the predicate. Of course, the harf jar and its ism. Khuluqin. Indeed, you are most definitely upon a character, a moral and ethical behavior, and a nature that is azim. And we see that following khuluqin, right, is azimin. And if you can recall, if you find an ism with another right beside it, all their properties will match. That's how you'll recognize it, right? What are we referring to here? A sifa or mawsuf fragment, right? Azim here is a sifa of khuluqin. It describes khuluqin, right? The character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khuluqin azim. Not only does he possess all of the most beautiful, noble qualities and character traits, which is azim in and of itself, it's great. It's something superb and praiseworthy, right? But Allah uses the harf ala, upon. When you're on something, you're above it. So all of these great, superb, amazing qualities and characteristics that you possess, it's superior. It's above and beyond. So we've identified here, right, with ala khuluqin and azim, right, being connected to khuluqin. We have our khabar here, right? And so we know there's an implied is, here, right? Indeed, you are most definitely, and there's additional emphasis here, right? Indeed, you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are most definitely upon a great standard of character, a great moral and ethical code, great principles. So this is the first type of alternative to the khabar in a nominal sentence structure, right? A prepositional phrase, specifically using a harf jar and its ism, right? A jar wa majroor construct. So we see here as well, right? A mubtada that's followed by these huruf, right? The huruf of jar, which we just covered, or a mudaf, as well as one of the dhuruf. It will always take the place of the predicate, just as knowledge is outstripped by etiquette.